Soldiers know a secret the average man doesn't. Life tastes sweeter the closer you get to death. Men who have to come to grips with their own mortality long before it's their time to go have almost always emerged better for it. These men now know what matters most, and when they live in accordance with this truth, their lives are fuller, richer, and deeper. To live is almost contradictory by nature. The very act of living presupposes an intimate dance with death. Authentic living combines a strong desire for life and a strange carelessness about dying. A fervent passion for living with a nonchalance towards death. The fiery essence of life emerges when you are continually a step away from losing it. Contemplating your death can be good to re-establish the way you want to live now. I am of course not telling you that you should live as though you want to die. I am telling you that you should live with the intimate knowledge that your time will come to an end. Do not cling desperately to life, for then you will be a coward. But do not passively wait for death, for then you will be suicidal. You must seek to live a life in a spirit of furious indifference to it, hanging on tight enough not to fall, but loose enough not to cramp. My practical advice for this morbid reality is to write a death letter. This is not a thought experiment. Really do it. The day when you are no longer here will come, and you'll want your friends and family to know what you thought of them. If you take this exercise to heart, it will transform you. So take some time, at least an hour, and really think through the person you want to be remembered as. Think through who you want to make sure is taken care of, who and what you want looked after. This is actually a practice you do in the military before you go to war, as there is a real possibility that you won't come back to tell the ones you love the things that you want to tell them. As you write these words, take note of how you feel and what it does to your perspective. Writing the last words you will ever say to someone in anticipation of your death will rock you to your core. A death letter challenges you to be better now. You don't just write these words on the contingency that you might die, because, of course, you will die. It's guaranteed. When you write this, you should imagine yourself on your deathbed, as if you knew with 100% certainty that you would be dying tomorrow. Who do you want to be by your side? What do you want them to think about you? What do you want to be remembered as by them? Internalizing that experience will help you live better in the present. The Stoics called the practice of remembering death memento mori. It's what they use to focus their awareness on living. Don't ever forget that the Reaper is knocking on your door, waiting for your time. Knowing the inevitability of your demise and doing everything you can to make sure it's not in vain isn't fear, but wisdom. To live like we're dying means leaving nothing on the table in terms of broken relationships, unresolved conflicts, or unmet dreams and expectations. It makes it such that when you die, you're ready to die. You've cleaned up the messes you made. You fixed what was broken. Contemplating death highlights our legacy and helps us focus on how we want to live now. I will say that with this death letter, only look at it once. Write down what you want to write down in one day and tuck it away somewhere. Contemplating death too much can make it seem sort of appealing to you, and that is not the idea I want to get across. The military needs soldiers ready to die. It needs them wholly focused on the mission ahead, not with unfinished business back home. This is a battle we're talking about. It's hard to think about flanking maneuvers under fire when your thoughts are hijacked by how you never forgave your dad or didn't propose to the one you love. The point of a death letter is more than just saying nice things to the people you love. It's about enabling you to focus on the task at hand, giving it your full presence and attention. Leaving nothing unsaid clears your mind of clutter so that you can be all in on the work in front of you. To function best, a soldier needs a mind, soul, and body unencumbered by broken relationships, hidden love, or withheld forgiveness. He needs to be sorted out on all the critical issues regarding truth, meaning, and life. When you face death on this blank page, you are ready to die in the most practical of ways. You make sure that everything back home is taken care of, all your affairs in order. We all know our end will eventually arrive. This should wake us up to what little we have done and how much more we have left to do. Perhaps you still haven't made the impact you're capable of. Maybe there's a project being delayed or a hard decision you keep avoiding. The closeness of death is a haunting thought, but remains an unblinking reality in front of us all. If we haven't been living well thus far, how can we expect to die well? Say your final words on those pages, seal them up, then tell someone where to find them if something happens to you. Never look at it or edit it again, but continue to rehearse it in your mind. Before you can live fully, you have to face death, and writing this letter is a great way to sort out your priorities. When you know the type of person you want to be, you can work passionately to make that person a reality. This will inspire you not only to live well enough, but to live exceedingly well. Here's a relevant story, something I thought about after I wrote my book, but still all the more relevant. It's something I dub supererogatory virtue. When I used to play basketball, our coach always made us practice free throws at the end of practice when we were all dead tired, and forced us to make them at the threat of running more. The idea is that we need to make free throws when we are tired and when there's pressure. It isn't enough to make them leisurely. We need to make them when we are under pressure in order to simulate high-pressure basketball games. Similarly, don't just be sufficient in virtue, but be super abundant in virtue. Have exceedingly more virtue than necessary. We are living in difficult times. You need to be more than patient enough, more than courageous enough, and more than loving enough in your everyday life. You need to have an excessive quantity of those virtues. You need to express those virtues in the most maximum sense. That way, when truly testing situations come, you will be ready. We are called not to just be good, but very good. The best that we can be. Go above and beyond what you think is necessary, and you'll live with no regrets. It's time to live like you're dying. In other words, it's time to really live. Many men don't know the value of life until they face the end of it, but that's not you. You're prepared for it. The great gift of death is that it brings value to life. There's something transcendent about facing your own demise before it's too late. It's the only way to live truly alive.